Okay, we're back with a part 2 of the introduction to the ACR workspace, and in this section we're going to talk about some shadow warnings and highlight warnings, and we have a good example of those. Let's go ahead and drive these shadows just a little darker here. We'll take the exposure and decrease it. This blue area here is indicating where some color channels are blocking out entirely. There's a complete loss of detail on particular color channels. Actually, if we look over here, all the color channels are losing detail. And then on the other side of things, the red area here is where the highlights, some color channels or all color channels, have lost detail in the highlights. We can toggle the red areas on and off by this little arrow right here in the upper right hand corner of the histogram. If you click on it, it will toggle on and off. Notice when it's outlined in white, or the interior actually is lined in white, we see the highlight warning. When we toggle it off, now it's just a solid black line. Then likewise, the same thing for the blacks. The last thing we want to talk about here in the introduction to the workspace is this little preview checkbox. When we take the checkbox out, we see the image without any of the adjustments on this tab. This is a tab specific checkbox. When we toggle it on, now we see the adjustments for this tab. So usually when you're making your adjustments, you're going to be doing that with that checkbox on, and you'll only toggle it to see if you like what your change is compared to the way it was before. So we're toggling it on and off to see if we like it compared to the way it was originally. Let's just run back here and take a look at another tab, make another adjustment. Yep, I got to toggle it on. Do we like what we did with this? And again, it's tab specific. Hey, a neat little thing that you're going to find very useful as you work through these sliders. If you take a slider, let's just take the temperature, actually not the temperature, let's take the exposure and run it way up. If I want to get that back to 0, really simply, once you click on the slider tab, the numbers become highlighted. Now if you simply type on the keyboard the number that you want it to be, perhaps I want it to run back to 0, it'll bounce back there really fast. That is a real convenient way to adjust your sliders without having to fine-tune them precisely, because it's really hard to do this with a mouse. It's simpler just to run the number right back by typing it on the keyboard. Again, so once you click on it, the number highlights. You can type in a number to run it up, and then if you don't like it, you can always type in 0 to bring it back, or you can use the slider. Using the slider is probably the best way to adjust these when you're just looking to visually make a decision. But let's say you don't like what you wound up doing and you want to go back to 0, then typing in 0 is a quick way to get there. Alright, that wraps up our introduction to the Adobe Camera Raw workspace, and we'll see you in the next clip.